This is Muscle Central on the ropes. This will be a segment I'll be doing every now and then. I was a big boxing aficionado up until the mid-90s, and I will be going back looking at some of the biggest fights in boxing history. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know what you think of this topic. If you want to see more than an occasional video on this topic, please let me know, and I will do my best to do that. Okay, 1987, Marvin Hagler, Ray Leonard meet for Marvin Hagler's middleweight title. Ray Leonard wins a 12-round unanimous decision, controversial. It's argued over until this day. There are some things behind the scenes that most people probably aren't aware of. First off, this fight should have taken place 4 or 5 years prior. They were negotiating this fight. Now, keep in mind that the middleweight weight limit is 160 pounds. While they were negotiating this fight, there were certain stipulations that Ray wanted. One of the stipulations is that Marvin couldn't come in more than a specific weight. And I don't remember what the weight was, but it was under the 160-pound weight limit. Marvin's like, fuck you. This is the middleweight title you want to fight for. The weight limit is 160 pounds. Take it or leave it. The fight never transpired. In the preceding years, Marvin Hagler had what's considered one of the greatest fights ever. Definitely the best 3 rounds ever in boxing. He knocked out Thomas Hearns in an electrifying 3-round fight. A year or two after that, he faced John the Beast Mugabe, who is a brutal puncher. It was a rough fight, and he stopped John Mugabe. And he's done just about everything. And retirement was already crossing his mind. The fight that he really wanted never materialized. That was a fight against Ray Leonard. Now, at some point, they meet up. There's a gathering. I believe it was a birthday party for another fighter or somebody big in the fight industry. And by this time, any animosity that might have been between the two of them was already gone. Ray's retired already, and Marvin Hagler's contemplating retirement. Well, Marvin's talking to him, and he's telling him that he's contemplating retirement. Things ain't going good for him. He's having problems with his wife. He's been drinking. He's doing blow. And shit just ain't working out too well for him at the moment. Now, Marvin said this to Ray, considering they were friends at this point. What does Ray Leonard do? The next day, he calls up a local Baltimore radio station, and he says he has a big announcement to make. Well, after hearing all this shit that's going on in Hagler's life, he just got through two of the toughest fights of his boxing career. He thought it was a great time to challenge him, come out of retirement and challenge him for the middleweight title. Did it live on radio, and it made a big impact. And of course, Hagler wanted this fight, and they started negotiating for this fight once again. And like in the previous fight that never materialized, Leonard wanted specific things to occur a certain way in this fight. And keep in mind, Hagler's a champion. Normally, the champion would get the lion's share of the purse, but because we're dealing with Ray Leonard, Ray is positioned to get the bigger part of the payoff for this fight. Hagler doesn't want that. I'm a champion. I should get the lion's share. Well, what happened was in the negotiations, Hagler had to make some concessions, and then he got the lion's share of the purse. First concession it was a 12-round fight. Now keep in mind, back then they still had 15-round fights. This fight could have and should have been a 15-round fight. Ray didn't want 15 rounds with Hagler. The size of gloves and the type of gloves were dictated by Ray. Hagler wanted Ray's gloves, which were known as the puncher's gloves. The size of the ring. These middleweights were in a 22-foot ring. To put that in perspective, you had two behemoths, George Foreman and Ron Lyle, in a 16-foot ring. So all these things were working in Ray's favor. Fight takes place, and for the most part, Ray was on his bicycle. Yeah, he threw punches. He threw a lot of flurries that didn't mean anything. He ran and he held a lot. Hagler pressed the fight the whole time. Hagler hurt Leonard on at least three occasions in the fight. At the end of the fight, Ray was assisted back to his corner. It didn't look like Ray could have won 3 more rounds if that was a 15-round fight. And at the end of the fight, when the bell rang and they embraced, Ray Leonard is talking in Hagler's ear, and according to Hagler, Ray said to him, "You beat me, babe." Leonard gets a 12-round split decision. If you look at the fight stats, at the end of the day, Ray Leonard landed only 9 more punches than Hagler landed. And he ran and he held most of the fight. And most of the punches he threw were insignificant. They were just flurries just to get the punches off. Hurt, and he probably wouldn't have lasted 15 rounds if that was a 15-round fight. How you take the title away from a champion, a dominant champion who did so much for the sport, gave it his all every time, and brought excitement into that ring every time he stepped into it, he won the fight. For those of you who are still swaying towards Leonard, I tell you, I challenge you this. I do this quite often. Watch the fight, turn the volume down so you don't hear the commentators. You'll be surprised how differently you might see the fight when you don't hear the commentators. You don't realize how much of an influence they could have on you and the way you perceive the fight. Go back, look at the fight, no volume, tell me what you think of it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications.